Alright, good morning, world. I am making this because I thought it might be a good idea to start doing some sort of journal. Not really quite sure where this is going to go or how this is going to end up being. But I want to start off by saying that there are two main goals for me doing this, and this is more or less just to track my progress, so you guys and myself can see just where I'm at, how I'm moving through, what's going on in my life, and how things are changing, advancing. Maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. But the first reason that I'm doing this is obviously for you guys. But the second one, it's mostly for me. I've been seeing some successful people out there who have done journals and they've reflected back on themselves, 1, 3, 5 years from now, or maybe even longer, and they just they get a laugh, or maybe they use it to reflect back on and think like, oh, I'm moving in this direction, this is what I need to do. Maybe it's a roadmap for them. So that's kind of what the purpose of this is, at least for me. Now, in these clips, you might see a little bit more raw, messy footage of me in my as I learn clips and my journey clips. I tend to try to keep it a little bit more professional. My verbiage isn't always as clean as it is in those videos. As I've said in my introduction, I am a veteran. And with that status, we typically tend to have some foul mouths. I'm not impervious to cursing, especially when I'm emotional or in my feelings or things are just getting really, really tough in life. So, where do I want to go with this? I'd like to start off by saying I've got a few different goals in mind. One of which I plan on losing some weight. I'm currently sitting at 230. I would ideally like to just be in shape in general. I know round is a shape, but it's not the shape that I want. So moving forward with that, my goal is to start to really lose some weight. Hopefully I make some progress in that in the near future. Now, my second goal, and I kind of came to this conclusion last night when thinking about it. I was going over finances with my wife, and I started to think, how much would this cost for it to actually take off? I want to start my own business. I want it to be in the field of AI. I'd like to start being able to create automated solutions for business and companies. And as it sits right now, we've got just enough in our, coming in to where we can thankfully pay all of our bills and pay a little bit of debt off. And I also get to take a little bit of a monthly stipend each paycheck every 2 weeks and put it into my Cash App. And that's kind of what I've been doing or using to fund this journey. I know that this isn't something that you can just do completely scot-free. You need to be able to pay for subscriptions to utilize tools, and I'm just really thankful to be able to have that opportunity. Now, I'm not sure how much $300 a month is going to get me. Hopefully it gets me where I need to go. But that's what I've got to work with right now. But I started to think because, yesterday was really rough. Wow, I went into the office. First off, it was in the negatives yesterday. Actual temperature was like 0, I'm pretty sure. The real feel was like -2, -3 or something. It was pretty crazy in the morning. And I got into the office and I was like, wow, it is excessively cold in here, like really freaking cold. And I look over at my desk and somebody at some point, first off, it was a 3-day weekend, so we got an extra day because of Martin Luther King's Day. But somebody over the weekend at some point came in and opened up my freaking window. So I looked at the temperature. It said the average room temperature was 37 degrees. But I keep a gallon of water on my desk where I work at, and it was a frozen block. I mean, it was absolutely insane. So I know the temperature of where I specifically sit at had to have been well below 37 degrees. So I mean that started out rough, and then the day itself, it just seemed like I wasn't able to catch up with work. And speaking of catch up, I had to come home, and after I got home, I had to drive an hour home, and then immediately when I got home, I had to jump on the computer and start doing some schoolwork. Now, I knew that that's kind of what this was going to have to be, but it really sort of hit me yesterday, because I started to realize that originally I wanted to get my education paid for through, being a disabled veteran, which was nice. But I was planning on going to get my bachelor's degree and then progress on and get into my master's degree afterwards. But the schoolwork that I've got to do right now, it takes up so ungodly amount of time. I had to get off work, come home, and I got home at 4, spent about 30 minutes talking with my wife, hopped on the computer and did schoolwork until 8:30, went to bed, and now we're here. And the days that I'm not going to be doing schoolwork, which probably won't be very many of them, I need to be investing all my excess time into working on AI and trying to work towards this goal of mine of creating a business. So, what that leads me into is I developed a plan last night. This is sort of an insight into what my envisioned roadmap looks like, and I'm going to need a lot of help with this. So if you're watching this, maybe drop some comments in, subscribe, give me a little bit of insight, give me an idea of what I could possibly do to make this realistic, or this what seems like a fantasy become a realistic, achievable goal at some point. But what I want to do is, when I get off work, eventually my ultimate goal, we'll start from the beginning. I graduate in July of this year. And originally I was going to jump right into my master's degree. But because of how much time school takes, I don't think that that's a realistic possibility if I really want to make this business succeed. Because right now, if I feel like my undergraduate degree is taking a lot of time, I don't even want to begin to see what a master's degree is going to do, how much time that's going to take. So I think I need to take a step back from school, but I'm so close to the end right now. Like, I literally have 2 semesters left, and then I've got my degree. And, business be damned or not, like, that just seems foolish to stop going right now at the end. So I have to push through. I've got to finish that. That's bare minimum. And that's achievable. That's within this year. I will have my degree, my bachelor's degree in business administration by July of 2025 this year. But the thing is, I was going back and forth on it. One of the main reasons I'm in school right now is because what I touched on earlier, I currently, not only because I'm a disabled veteran, not only is my school paid for, but I also get a monthly stipend. That's one of my benefits. I get about $1,400 a month in a monthly stipend, which is supposed to be able to help people with their expenses, essentially. And we've incorporated that into our monthly expenses, our billing structure. So when I was going to continue to go for my master's degree using my GI Bill afterwards, because there'll still be some left over, I was going to continue to receive that stipend. But if I stop going, that's going to be a negative $1,400 deficit going towards our account. And like I said earlier, going over bills with my wife, we'll be able to pay our stuff, but it won't be pretty. I won't be able to put anything back into my personal fund for trying to fund this whole AI journey of mine. And it's just going to be way too tight for comfort. And so what I'm getting at with that, we're going to go back to my first goal. My first goal is by July, I need to find some way to create some sort of supplemental income that is going to be able to replace my $1,400 a month. Now, for it to be realistic, I know that if you have income, you're going to have to pay taxes on it, and I might have my tax brackets wrong here. I more than likely do, but it just a rough picture without doing calculations or looking into it. To earn $1,400 a month without having any backlash or repercussions come to taxes, I'm going to have to make roughly about $2,000. So I need to make about $2,000 roughly. Like I said, my figures might be wrong. I don't know exact amounts. But if I can make $2,000 a month by July, I can reasonably take a step back from school and focus all of my additional time on this AI, which is ultimately what I really want. I want to create this business, and my end goal, now that we've touched on what my main goal, or my first goal is by July, so that's the end of June going into July, that's about 7 months from now. By the end of this year, going into 2026, right now my main goal is to have the ability to take a step back from my actual job and do full-time AI work, creating solutions for businesses, automated solutions for businesses. That's my goal. That's my dream. That's where I want this to go. Now, for that to be able to work, that is a whole different story. You know, like I said, this is part of getting a little personal, so I don't mind giving you a little bit of insight into some of my finances. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of specifics, but my monthly income as far as my job goes is roughly $2,400 a month, and my school stipend is $1,400 a month. So just looking at that, that comes out to about $3,800 a month. Now, if we're taking taxes into account to be able to account for the deficit that would happen if I took a step back from both work and school, rough calculations again, don't quote me on this. I hope none of the IRS is coming back and looking at this. Like I said, I'm going to calculate it. It's all good. I'm not saying, I'm not going to pay my taxes or anything. But just rough calculations, that means I need to make a little bit over $5,000 a month with this AI journey. And I don't know how realistic that is in a year. I mean, if any of you guys are still watching this and have been watching some of my other progress videos, I don't know a whole lot right now, and I just took those a week ago, less than a week ago, actually, 5 days ago, to be exact. So I really need to start putting the grind on this, and if I really want to be able to take a step back from my job and school, I need to have more time. Bottom line, I need to have more time. And that's why I want to be able to take a step back from school after I get my degree, is to be able to have more time, because I put anywhere from 10, 15, sometimes even 20 hours a week into school. Okay, if I could take that, if I can find a way for some weeks to put 20 hours a week into school and still do this AI stuff and still make these videos and post them consistently for you guys, that means that I have unaccounted for time of probably upwards of 30 to 40 hours a week. It's not uncalled for people to work 2 40-hour-a-week jobs. I'm not saying that's ideally what I'd like to do, but again, this is a grind. This isn't something I'm going to be able to do overnight. So if I want to have the ability to even consider putting a second full-time hours worth into making this happen, like I said, bottom line, I need more time. And right now, time is not on my favor. You may hear me quote some people that I watch throughout this journey of mine. But, and I'm sure you guys, if you're following this or watching this, you've more than likely heard of them already. But somebody that I follow very closely and I, in a way, look up to. His name is Liam Otley, and he's the founder of Morningstar AI or Morningside AI. I'm sorry about that. And a few other companies, Agentic and stuff like that. And one of the videos that he made that really resonated with me is you got 3 different kinds of people in this world. And I know you've heard a lot of different models, but this is the model that resonated the most for me, that impacted me for this journey. You got 3 different kinds of people. And he says these 3 people are people that have their money high and time low, time high and money low, and then the unfortunate group of people, their money low and time low. Now what that means is people that are time high and money low is they got a lot of excess time. Those are going to be the people, the kids straight out of school, the ones that are still trying to figure life out and decide what they want to do with their journey. They're the ones with excess time on their hands. That's the group that I would like to be in. But then you've got the money high and the time low people, and they're not too much of a better off situation, but at least they have the capital to invest in where their time is lacking. So they can still find a way to do this. If they need to take a step back from their job for a month, sometimes they're able to do that. But then you've got the group of people that I fall into, which is the money low and the time low people. Now, I'm not super low. I'd say maybe I'm at a money medium. Okay, I think I'm at a money medium because if you're money low, you're living paycheck to paycheck. And that's not the case for me because I can still, if I was living paycheck to paycheck, I wouldn't have that $300 a month to put towards this. But I also don't have insane amount of capital to outsource to be able to pay to have people do this stuff for me. So I need to do it all myself, and the money that I have is only enough money to be able to afford the subscriptions that I'm going to need to have to be able to run these sites, to run these programs. And so, like I said, going back to it, I need more time because I fall into that niche category. Well, I would say it's a vast majority of the population these days. Money low and time low. Oh, well, money medium and time low. Bottom line is I don't have the time. And that's where we get back to the whole, I need to take a step back from something. This excess time that I'm using right now on my personal time, after school and work comes first, is I need to also find a way to make time for my wife. She comes third. She comes above anything else realistically. If I needed to today to take care of her because she got sick, I would get out of work and, sell the house and move somewhere cheaper to be able to make it work. I don't know how it would work, but we'd make it happen. But I can't neglect my marriage because I want this to take off. Because ultimately what'll happen is if I neglect my marriage right now and I take a year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years to get this business up and running, where's my marriage going to sit? It may have crumbled by then. And then what am I doing this for? Myself? That would be nice. You should always do stuff for yourself. But something that you'll learn about me as we move through this is that I have a big heart. I've always been told that. I actually got criticized when I was in the military because I was told I wear my heart on my sleeve. I bend over backwards and take care of people. I try to fix people's problems when I shouldn't. When I should really be focusing on my own problems, I try to focus and fix other people's problems myself. And it's not saying that's something that I can't do, but again, it goes back to time. So I don't want my marriage to fall apart, and that takes time as well. She's understanding now. I want to reiterate, I want to be very, very clear about this. She is not the problem. My marriage is not the problem, okay? I would put that above anything else if I had to drop this because my marriage was suffering. Unfortunately, I would have to, and I would do that with a smile. I might look back on it and wish, man, I wish that would have taken off, but ultimately, I would have the person that I love in my life the most, and I can't give that up for anything. But, yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. That happens sometimes. This is unscripted, guys. Or future me. Well, I think I've talked your ear off enough. We are at, looks like 20 minutes going in here. So just to recap, want to lose some weight. I want to put more time back into my life so I can actually achieve the goals. Oh, if you're still watching this, I got one more thing that I'd like to say here. And this is mostly for my future self. Future self, if you're watching this, you really fucked up, dude. You really fucked up. And so for all of you who are wondering how past me fucked up, current me right now, something I didn't tell you guys when I was doing my introduction video, but I'll let you in on it right now. I had what some might consider an unhealthy addiction to a video game, and some of you may laugh when you see this or hear this, but it's called RuneScape, old school RuneScape to be specific. Now, although I'm saying I fucked up, I still back by it. Old school RuneScape is way better than RS3. Just throwing that out there for any of you people that play RS3, you're wrong. You're wrong. But anyways, moving forward, I fucked up because every year something called Leagues comes out, and that's a seasonal promotional time of year that the RuneScape creators do. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it. If you want to know more, you can Google it. But essentially, it runs for 2 months long, and I love that game a lot. And I always told myself, you know, you're just an average player. You're just an average player. There's no reason to be obsessed with this. But it didn't matter how many times I told myself I was an average player, there's no reason to be obsessed. I always found myself investing all of my additional time into it. Like, I'm talking an unhealthy amount of time. I mean, it was freaking ridiculous. And I started thinking, while I was playing Leagues, I would literally work 8 hours, come home, play the game for 8 to 10 hours, go to bed, wake up, repeat, drag ass going into work. On the weekends, I would wake up at 8 a.m., start playing, and not go to bed till midnight. My marriage was affected by it. But where I get back to where I fucked up at is school. Okay? I let weeks. I'm talking weeks. And I've only got 10 weeks per semester. And I let weeks just get let go of school. I mean, I did some work to make sure my attendance was still there and I didn't get kicked out. But I didn't do what I should have done. I'm still in the running. Thank fucking God. But I'm really far behind right now to where if I turn everything in and get 100% on everything else remaining, best case scenario for one of my classes, my other class is actually doing good, but my human resources class, 76%. Best case scenario with 100% on everything else. So I'm a little bit scared right now because if I fail this class, I lose my funding. And then it doesn't matter what the fuck I do. I mean, yeah, on one end that's nice, but on second end, where's my income going to go? I don't have what it takes right now to start a business yet, to start generating that, $2,000 a month that I said I needed to take a step back from school. If I could, I might actually step back. Like I said, I'm close to a degree, so I can't do that. But the point is, fucked up. Bad. Bad. Really bad. And I acknowledge that. I'm not proud of it, but I acknowledge it. And I acknowledge the problem. So I made a decision about halfway through Leagues. They've got different point structures that you can get to dragon rank, and that's like the best of the best for players. Ooh. And I wanted to get there to prove to myself, to myself, that I was more than just an average player. Now, mind you, I was still less than the top 5% of the gamers. So maybe 10 to 15%. I got the bare minimum for Dragon Trophy. So and a lot of other people did too. So am I really better than average after I put hundreds of hours into a game in a 2-month time period? Am I really better than average for that? I don't think so. And so, like I said, that was something that hit me pretty hard recently. And I made a decision to take a step back from my unhealthy addiction of that video game that was doing nothing for me. It gave me some satisfaction. It distracted me from real world problems. I wasn't putting any time or investment into my future, or myself, or my wife. And that wasn't acceptable, so I took a step back. And I'm proud to say that I took a step back, but I'm also mad at myself for letting things drop the way they did. And so this is from myself, my current self to my future self. If you're watching this, don't do that again. Let that shit go. Keep it in the past. It's a problem. It was since you picked it back up back in Germany and 3-4 years ago. Keep it gone. Now, I still have an unhealthy attachment with being able to delete my account because I have, when you look at it, you can tell, it'll tell you how many hours you've played. Put over 1,400 hours into that thing. And so I can't really bring myself to delete it. I probably should, but I don't know. Not deleting it yet. Maybe in the future, but not yet. But I'm going to end it there. I appreciate you guys watching. For any of you that may have watched it and stuck through this, I'm going to start doing these more regularly because I want to have something to reflect back on, not just a one-time cut at the beginning of the year or, I want to be able to track my progress. Here's a question for you guys. Please leave them in the comments. If you made it this far, absolutely fantastic. That means the world to me. You don't have to leave a comment, but it would also mean the world to me if you did about this. Answer this question, this leaving question. Aside from getting out of school, aside from not pursuing my master's degree, how can I put more time in my life aside from what I'm already doing? Wake up at 4 a.m. to get ready for work. I come in here at 5, do whatever it is I'm going to do on the computer, leave by 6, drive an hour into work, get there at 7. I'm home by 4 o'clock. And then I do everything else that I can from school to this. I'm usually laying in bed between 8 and 8:30. Weekends, completely crammed full of to-do lists, honeydews, homework, AI now. I can't think of any way to manage my time any better. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job as it is, but it's not enough. So, I hear my dog's collar going right now, so that means my wife's up. I'm going to go and talk to her, just hang out before I have to head off to work. But thanks for making it this far, guys. I appreciate it. If you want to watch my journey, the links are going to be down below in the description. My introduction is going to be down there if you want to have a little bit more, if you want to know a little bit more about specifics of my life. Leave a comment, answer the questions, like the video. If you don't like the video, dislike the video. I really don't care. This is for me. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. So, alright. Thanks for watching, guys.